What a welcome to Navajo Sage Weaver Tarot's channel. Welcome, you guys. This is a all signs. I'm going to do all signs starting from Aries all the way to Pisces. Just a little kind of check-in, see where our energy is. And so I'm going to shake the gourd to move any stagnation energy. Everything will be in the description below, the timestamps, the name of the decks, and any other information. All right. We're going to get started. I'm going to shake the gourd. Well, first of all, I should say I'm just going to get one card from each. I'm just going to get one card, and then I'm going to just grab a deck here and then use it to kind of see what the tarot is. So, all right, we'll get started. I'm just going to do some shuffling. Kind of wake them up a little bit. All right. So, Aries, we have here the energy of fear. So, Aries, we're starting off with fear. I realize what I realize that I am testing my uh, resolve to live in the energy of love. Water, water your garden, nourish, body care, uh, tenderness, rest. And then we have dreams. The universe speaks to you through your dreams. All right. So, Aries, I'm going to use this deck and just kind of see where we are. Just going to get one more. Okay, so it looks like our current energy is the sun here. And the sun here talks about uh, your light, right? Talks about, you know, what makes you happy, you know, connecting to uh, the Dean, right? The creator, um, some sort of success, right? Abundance, truth here as we talk. So we're in this energy. And then what's what is what was in the past, right? So our past energy, we probably dealt with a king of swords, somebody who is abusive, right? Or um, the king of swords too is, you know, maybe dealing. with some ruthless energy, right? Um, and maybe that's what caused fear, right? What made you realize, what made you, and that's why the water your garden here, nourishing your being, take some rest. And then, um, and then our future, is the Ace of Cups, right? So the Ace of Cups energy is opening your heart, right? Doing some healing, finding different connections, right? Um, Maybe leaving this type of negative King of Swords behavior right behind, because now the universe speaks through you with your dreams. So maybe you're connecting, right? You're connecting with spirit through your dreams. You know, and so when you start connecting, right, with the um, future, opening your heart, um, so maybe your heart was closed because of fear. Maybe you didn't have enough rest, maybe your body wasn't nourished. So you're trying to refine, refine your heart, right? um, and be able to, not be in um, that feel fearful state. So, all right, Aries, that was your message. All right, let's see. We have Taurus. Taurus, this is your message here. All right, Taurus, we have worry. I am learning that worry does not change an outcome. Hearth, longing for home, homesick for the stars, gratitude, universal love shining through the miracles of life all around you. All right. See, let's pull some cards. So we have the Nine of Swords here. And the Nine of Swords energy, is anxiety, right? So maybe this energy of worrying, giving you anxiety, sleepless night at night. So let's see, um, the energy you're in, and then what was in the past was the Knight of Pentacles. And the Knight of Pentacles energy, can be stubborn, right? Somebody who's not working, right? Um, so maybe that's why, maybe you're not working, right? Um, maybe you're stubborn. Maybe uh, getting a little lazy and staying in your bed, right, Taurus? Not being socially active, right? So sometimes when um, hmm, crystal just an amethyst, just my amethyst is cracking. Um, so maybe not being so social, right? Not being active. Because why? Because maybe we feel homesick. Maybe we feel like longing, we're worried, worry. And it says, I am learning that worry does not change an outcome. So maybe you're looking for an outcome, right? And then the future here, you have in the future position, you have the Wheel of Fortune. And the wheel, the Wheel of Fortune is um, opportunities, your luck's coming back, So maybe there was some sort of stagnation, right? Causing this. And then when you start realizing, right, the lesson of worry, I am learning what that worry does not change an outcome. Once you understand that concept, right, then you start having gratitude, you know, even though you may be feeling sick, right, and you're not really socially active, is causing some anxiety, um, causing you not to really be productive. Maybe you're productive, maybe you're not, but there's no productiveness and your energy um, in the past, right, which is causing this. And then the future is saying, hey, um, there might be some opportunities that you might miss. Maybe these opportunities are above you, right? Um, Taurus. And so you're not really looking at them because you're stuck in your bed, and they could give you pinnacles, but you don't want to do the work. But Spirit is saying that, in the future, your luck might come in, good fortune, you know, start looking for signs of uh, synchronicity, you know, numbers, letters, whatever's repeating, whatever keeps showing up in your life, entities, animals, people, So that is your message. Thank you, Taurus. All right, Gemini. Gemini. All right, Gemini. So, Gemini, we have purpose. Um, the lesson is purpose. I know what I am here to do. And then your um, message from Spirit is lifting the veil, questioning everything, anything unhinging or unaligned must go. And then channel. You are a channel through which healing energy reaches the world. All right. So Gemini, let's get some cards. Get 3 cards for you, Gemini. Just want 3 cards. All right, Gemini. So our current position is the 7 of Swords. So maybe feeling some sort of betrayal, right? Keeping people, outside, right? Uh, Lifting the veil here. Anything on the line must go. So you're probably like, maybe those things don't align with you anymore. In the past, right, we have the world, and the world can be some sort of frustration, isolation, maybe, that's why you're keeping people at bay here, in this current position, right? Here's you in the middle, and, all these entities are all out, keeping them at bay, in the past. And now, you're like, okay, I gotta move. So you're moving something, and, maybe it was a little frustrating, maybe it was a little isolating, maybe something was unfinished, maybe um, a lesson that you were going through, right? Maybe some sort of travel or delay or maybe some sort of problems, right? So that's the S energy. And then the future, our future is the 2 of Cups. And the 2 of Cups energy is connecting, right, with soulmate. So you're letting go You're questioning everything because you're letting anything that doesn't align with you, whether it's people, places, or thing, because you're starting to understand this lesson of purpose. I know what I am here to do. And you're channeling it. You're channeling it through which healing energy reaches the world, right? So finally, in the past, you were feeling isolated, frustrated, these things, these entities, these people, places, or things didn't align with you. And then the current position, you started taking those swords and we kind of just started, leaving what no longer serves you. And because you want to move forward, you want to be aligned and you want to connect with your soulmates, your tribe, your people. All right, Gemini, that's what I have for you. Cancer. Cancer. All right, Cancer. The lesson here we have is indecision. I use my intuition in all aspects of life. And then we have star bathing, light body crystal grid transmission activation. And then we have choice. By staying conscious in your thoughts, you guide your journey in the direction of choices. All right. Mhm. So let's see. Cancer, get 3 cards. Let's see what the cards tarot is saying. All right, the current position here is the Wheel of Fortune here. The Wheel of Fortune energy is that maybe maybe you're looking for an opportunity, or maybe you have a bunch of opportunities here, right? With all the different types of branches, holding this, um, this here. And the the Wheel of Fortune energy too, is learning, you know, learning your learning, the cycles, right? The cycles that present in your life. Learning about these different strands and why they exist there, in your life, in your environment, understanding and adapting to the cycles, as a change through your life. So you're going through some changes and maybe they're causing some indecision, right? And that's why we have that indecision lesson there. And then in the past, we have the Four of Cups here. And the Four of Cups energy, is in the past, we were letting go probably of maybe breaking bad maybe learning or, trying to figure out how to break bad habits, right? Because we have choices here. And then, you know, reuniting some sort of spark, rediscovering your passion, so, so there was in the past, you were struggling, with this you know, with this. Maybe in the past you decided to put, your addictiveness, and it caused some indecisionness, right, Cancer? Maybe that's why it's asking you to use your intuition in all aspects of life, because when you put alternate or when you put altered um chemicals in our body, right? Whether it's alcohol or even caffeine can, cause us to disconnect from our intuition, because you understanding that, that you're going through some sort of activation, right? And then in the future, you have the full energy, um, s- you know, and the full energy is, innocence, trust, adventure, new beginnings. So, once maybe you figure out what your wheel of fortune is, right? Maybe start um, realigning this, right? And maybe that's why you need the star bath, Star bath, what are they? Like salt baths, um, you know, being able to connect, right? With your, you know, um, sometimes if you take a salt bath, I think sometimes that kind of activate too, different types of energy. And plus you have choices here. And so um, Spirit is just, telling you that, you can take the risk. You can add your new beginning, in the future once you get, this situation all, all not so discombobulated as it looks here, because maybe you want to reunite some sort of spark that you had, some sort of creativity, right? But it caused some indecision, made you, not use your intuition. So you have choices. Spirit says you can choose, you can make your own choices, and that's the greatest thing in that we have as gifts too, as human beings, is that we can make a choice. So, Cancer, that is your message. Thank you. All right, Leo. Leo, what does Spirit have for you? All right, Leo, grief. The lesson here is grief. I understand that losing something is an opportunity to appreciate. Calling, soul gift, and training. It's time to step up. Abundance. When your heart intends to serve humanity, doors of abundance naturally open. So you have doors and abundance. All right, just gonna get 3 cards. Hmm. So the current position is that you are in is the Page of Pentacles. Kind of being wrapped up in, this pentacles here, right? Um, and placing all your attention in just in this, right? Um, and uh, also the Page of Pentacles too can talk about um, maybe you're maybe crafting something, right? Um, s Trying to manage something here, the with the Page of Pentacles, you know. So, and it's caused some grief, right? Because the lesson that you're trying to understand is grief. I understand that losing everything is an opportunity to appreciate. So maybe that's why you're so wrapped up in this, is you're afraid to lose, you're afraid to lose that pentacle, right, Leo? And then in the past, the Hierophant energy. So the Hierophant energy can talk about um, mm, maybe problems with authority, right? Um, Maybe problems with your creativity too. Maybe there's, if you can see there here, this is like a some sort of medallion. So maybe in the past you struggled, with your creativity and it wasn't going anywhere, or it's maybe stagnant, right? Um, or maybe you weren't stepping up, right? because you have the call card here, which is soul's gift and training. It's time to step up. So you have steps, right? And Spirit is saying is once you get to the step, you're going to have soul gifts, right? It's going to be abundance, when you get to that. But that was in the past. And so now, you're kind of like in this place of grief because you don't want to lose that pentacles. You work really hard, even though, being a page, you can be reliable, diligent in your working, right? Um, so, so there's, uh, you don't want to lose that opportunity. In the future, Spirit is saying, the Ten of Pentacles here. And the Ten of Pentacles is a completion of, your work here. Finally maybe needing to let that go, right? Needing to allow yourself to release, right? And once you release, right? And once, um, here's that medallion. If you look, here's the medallion. You get the medallion here. So your medallion started from just a light, but you went up, you went up the steps. You took that challenge to step up, right? Then it caused some grief. Here's the pant colors, orange too, this orange here. And it caused some grief. And this is the lesson that you have to learn. And so now, in the future, once you learn that, then abundance comes in, when your heart's intention is to serve humanity, doors of abundance naturally open. So that's going to naturally open for you when you start moving in that direction. All right, Leo, that is your reading. All right, Virgo, this is your reading. All right, Virgo, your lesson here is adversity. I accept that challenges are the best way to learn. And then it says, wait, it is not yet time. Things are being woven. Signs. The universe has been gently nudging you forward to reveal to you signs and synchronicity. All right, Virgo, let's get some cards and see what the tarot has. Three cards, please. All right, here we have the Page of Swords again. Don't know who got that. Maybe somebody did, maybe somebody didn't. Maybe it's just the pages. But anyways, Virgo, here's your current position is the Page of Swords. So maybe you're studying, maybe you're learning, maybe you're a student of some sort, right? Um, and the lesson for you in this current position is to accept the challenge or, challenges are the best way to learn. So maybe being in that energy, right? Having this lesson, you're already carrying the Page of Swords energy. And you know, uh you're learning about the world around you, always moving, kind of like a, adventurous person, right? So, and then in the past we had justice here. And the justice is, in maybe you had some injustice, right? That's why it, was some sort of, you know, um, learning experience, right? Um, maybe you had some injustice with, some sort of imbalance, some sort of complex proceeding, something that caused some sort of red tape for you that, didn't allow you. So, so what did you do? You started learning about it, right? You started learning about this, trying to find a balance of it. And then the future ends with the Page of Pentacles. And the Page of Pentacles um, is, somebody who's reliable, right? if you can see, he's all in his tuxedo. But because we're in the page, right? We're in the page realm, right? And we're learning challenges and adversities and stuff. And then, but Spirit is saying, wait, it is not yet time. Things are being woven. So, um, in the future, we have to wait, right? Because Spirit's going to give us a sign, uh, Virgo, and the signs are going to be gently nudged to you. They're going to be signs and synchronicity. They're going to reveal um, what you've been waiting for, right? So, all right, Virgo, that is your message. Libra. All right, Libra, spirits and guides. Let's get three cards for. No, this message is for Libra. I'm sorry. I'm just getting really ahead of myself for some reason. So maybe that's what you're doing, Libra. Maybe you're getting ahead of yourself before you can imagine. And imagination is here for your lesson. I embrace and nourish the creativity aspect of my mind. And this is jump in. So maybe that's why I was such in a rush, is because I was ready to jump in. And dormant energy, adventure, say yes to change, and then meditation. You know, meditation, take a moment to connect to source through quiet reflection and meditation. So, all right, Libra, and now get three cards, mass spirit to get three cards. All right, Libra. It looks here we are in the energy of the Nine of Pentacles here. And the Nine of Pentacles energy is you're being successful, you're you have a you're you have beauty around you, right? So you're making beauty from nothing. The Page of Pentacles, I mean the Nine of Pentacles. And also like feeling gratitude, appreciation, being thankful, having accomplishment. So this energy that you're in, and then in the past, we were in the Four of Cups, right? The Four of Cups energy. And so the Four of Cups energy is maybe you had a new outlook, right? A new direction, some sort of opportunity that came up, right? The Four of Cups also is you're trying to stay in the moment. Maybe it was hard, right? Because at the beginning, I just kind of wanted to rush, right? Maybe, you figured out, right? Staying in the moment. You're like, you know what? I don't really need these cups because this cup will make my pentacles, right? And as you can see, here you are. And then now, you have a loyalty there. You have entities around you, the butterfly. So whatever that was, you stayed in the moment. You kind of hurry up and jumped in. You said yes to change, right? And you just had this enormous energy, and it brought you the Nine of Pentacles. And then the future is you have the Three of Wands here. And the three ones is that, the creative rewards, finally, laying down that foundation by doing some meditation, maybe, finally learning that lesson of imagination, using or embracing, right? Accepting and nourishing the creative aspect of your mind. Finally, putting that into action, in the future. So that's what I have for you, Libra. It's a good reading. Scorpio, this is your reading. Scorpio, we're starting off with the lesson denial. I acknowledge my fear but I replace it with the insight of awareness. And then we have message from spirit, the Star Brothers. Harness, harness energy, protection, loyalty, safety, and trust. And then no limitation. You are an essential being with unlimited potential. There is much for you to share. So that's what we're starting off with. Let's see. All right, Scorpio. Let's get three cards for Scorpio. Mm. All right, the current position that we are in is the moon energy here. And the moon energy talks about that maybe maybe it doesn't, maybe what you're seeing is not what it seems, trying to look past the illusion, right? Um, and maybe Spirit is telling you to get some guidance, right, from others if you are unable to see, you know, because maybe you're in denial, maybe some sort of issue, and you're in disbelief, right? And so you're in denial. And so the lesson is I acknowledge my fear, but I replace it with the insight of awareness. So trying to find that awareness, And in the past, you have the Daughter of Wands. So I want to say the Daughter of Wands would be like, so I would say this energy here, there was some sort of s- um uh stubbornness, right? Um, some sort of chaos, chaotic, you know, um, impulsive, right? So this snake energy, maybe you were dealing with somebody, right? And so Spirit is asking you to bring in the Star Brothers, harness that energy, protection, loyalty, safety, trust. And so maybe this being right here was not very trustworthy, right? Somebody who had chaos, somebody who's very sexually active, and you couldn't see past the illusion, right? And so maybe you were in denial. Here you have the orange here, and you got orange up there. Having that denial aspect. And then in the future, you have the Ace of Wands here. Um, maybe, you know, finding new projects, right? Your creative energy, once you expel, right? Once you get this lesson here, once you get that lesson here, you're not all like here, you were wrapped up in denial, you couldn't see it, right? You couldn't see through that energy. But then, the current energy is the moon, energy. See past it, ask for help, and then when you do, boom, there's no limitation, you're an essential being, you have potential. There's so much of you to share and it disperse, it's no longer touching who you are, your wands, right? So Scorpio, that is your message. Sagittarius. Sagittarius. All right, Sagittarius. The lesson here for you is trust. I accept my inner voice will always guide me correctly. And then spirit message is I remember soul plan, the fate life versus the destiny life. Wisdom, see your adversities as opportunities to expand your spirit's light. All right. So let's see. Sagittarius. Let's get 3 cards for Sagittarius. Mm. All right, Sag. It looks like we have the 2 of Wands here. And the 2 of Wands energy is learning, planning for the future, testing, you know, um, testing out your discoveries, right? Trusting it, accepting that your inner voice will always guide you, Um, and then on the past, we have the King of Swords, maybe walking away from, somebody who's an authority, somebody who is a commanding leader, right? Somebody who can be very corrupt, can use bribery, right? And so, you know, um, this energy here, spirit made you remember, right? So maybe you were in this energy. Maybe this is your energy here, or maybe you were dealing with somebody, however this resonates with you. But this energy here being, being abusive, being a corrupted person, spirit is making you remember you have a soul plan, you know, there's a difference between fated and destiny life, start trusting yourself, right? Start accepting your inner voice, find that wisdom, right? And then the future is the devil here. And the devil energy is just, you know, expressing that, you need to learn how to take care of yourself, Trust that you can listen to your inner voice. Trust that it will guide you correctly. Find that wisdom within you. Remember, you know, remember who you are and um and don't give away, don't give away your power or, don't give away your power to this, negativity, right? Um because um because it's your power, right? It empowers you. you know, figure out how to, release yourself from this energy. Use your wisdom, see your adversities for opportunity, expand your spiritual light, trust your inner voice. So that's what I have for you, Sagittarius. Capricorn. Capricorn. All right, Capricorn. Capricorn, we are starting off with the lesson of love. I commit to the practice of seeing the good in all things. And then spirit message is all path leads home. Inner authority, intuition, turn your gaze within. And then surrender your needs to control the outcome. Just be with life in your present moment. All right, Capricorn. All right, Capricorn, I'm going to get three cards. All right, Capricorn, we are in the current position of the Tower. We're cleansing something, right? We're uh seeing through BS. We're seeing through the truth because of love, right? Um Also the energy of yeah, excuse me, of the Tower is, some sort of tear down that no longer helps you, right? Um, you know, spirits coming in and uh kicking you kicking you out of your home, right? He's not, like some tower cards, they're very intense where like, the building is breaking, but here it's just like creator just kind of shock you and you bounce out like what the heck woke you up, right? So that's the energy we're in. And then the judgment card, what was in the past, right? So the denial here, um, you know, uh, maybe a change, some sort of fearing of change, right? Uh, Maybe not judging something. Maybe you judge yourself wrong, right? And maybe you're judging yourself. Maybe in the past you judge yourself really hard, tearing down your intuition, your higher self, As you can see, this entity is trying to release itself from it. And then, spirit comes in and, you know, shakes you up, get you to come outside maybe, right? And in the future you have the Five of Cups here. And the Five of Cups talks about, letting go of maybe some sort of um uh grief, right? Learning how to nourish, trying to be a nourishing hand, right? Trying to see, trying to figure out, what cups are good because you have that cup right there, and you're just like, I'm just gonna see what this is, and when you let it go, this energy connects with you because why? You surrender. Surrender your needs to control the outcome. Just be with life in the present moment. And so, um, that's what's happening here with the Five of Cups energy. So that's what I have for you, Capricorn. All right, Aquarius. Aquarius. Aquarius, we're starting off with the lesson relationship. I am attracted to those people who serve my highest good. And then the message we have from Spirit is you're not alone. Isolation, physical connection, community, observation, expand your conscious by observing the divine's matrix of life. All right, let's see what the tarot has for you, Aquarius. So our current position is the Five of Cups energy. And the Five of Cups energy here is that, you know, maybe feeling depressed, right? Um, maybe having some self-pity, dwelling, of the past, We can see this horse is kind of sad a little bit, and maybe it has something to do with relationships. That's why the lesson's here, I'm attract I am attracted to those people who serve my highest good. So maybe you're around people that kind of brought you down, kind of, maybe there's five entities that are your friends or some sort of relations in your life, and every time you're around them, they just drain you, they make you feel like, and so you're trying to figure out like this relationship part of your life, and that you're not alone. You don't have to be in isolation, and that there's physical connection, that there's community. You don't have to just stick with those five people. There's people out there for you. Just be observant of, how, the divine is bringing these people in your life and how they're making you feel. Maybe they're making you feel stagnant, um, but it's bringing your energy down. And then, in the past, we have the Son of Pentacles. And this energy speaks to me. You know, um, it reminds me of like being stubborn, right? Um, uh, maybe um, trying to think of the word, um, maybe feeling unworthy, right? Um, maybe being bored, right? And that's why you're not alone is here, because of isolation and just letting you know of community, right? And that's why you're in this energy here of the Five of Swords. In the future, we have the Six of Pentacles, and the Six of Pentacles energy is taking care of, you know, taking care of yourself, right? Observing, learning how to move around with community, right? Connecting with community, maybe, right? And taking care of their needs in the future. Because why? Um, because you're, because of this lesson of relationship that, you're learning how to attract other people, right? So if you see, in the past, you have maybe this pentacles here with the moon, right? Maybe that was a community, you know, and um, it was a mixture. And then you had to listen with your antennas here, right? And figure, how to move, how to reconnect with with your soul people, your tribe. And then when you did that, you realize like, oh, I got to get rid of that person. I got to walk away from that person, this person, this person. And it makes you feel sad because maybe you had good relations with them, maybe, you overlooked their, um, their negative behavior, right? And so because of that, because you're moving forward, you're bringing in other people you know, who bring light to you and your pentacles, because you took time to have the observation and learn how to move with this energy. So, Aquarius, I'm just going to say that is your rating. Thank you. Pisces, 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 Pisces. Pisces. We are starting with the lesson of balance. I bring a state of perfect harmony into my world, and I do so without judgment. And then the message from Spirit is the cosmic heart, devotion, potency, making your life more, making, make your life a moving prayer. Reflection. See all aspect of yourself through the reflection of the one who mirrors your hidden self. All right. Get 3 cards. All right, Pisces, we have the energy of the Five of Pentacles here. And the Five of Pentacles is, worrying about, finishing, maybe feeling like you're maybe feeling um alone, right? Um, maybe trying to adapt to a situation, right? And that's why the lesson here is balance. I bring a state of perfect harmony into my world, and I do so without judgment. So maybe you're trying to find balance in this, Five of Pentacles energy. Mhm. Um, this temporary loss, sometimes we have to lose things. Sometimes we have to have material anxiety. Maybe bills are coming up, right, Pisces? Unexpectedly, some sort of instability, And then what was in the past was the King of Cups here. And the King of Cups energy is an abusive person, somebody who's manipulative, right? So we're walking away from that. Why? Because of the cosmic heart, the devotion, the potency, making your life a moving prayer. Maybe you reflected on something, seeing all aspect for yourself through the reflection of the one who mirrors your hidden self. Maybe this king of, maybe this is you. Maybe you're seeing yourself differently now. And then we have in the future the king of wands, um, somebody who acts alone, right? Um, because we maybe the feeling little um alienated, right? So maybe we had to act alone, but this is somebody who is strong-minded, who's dominated, right? As you can see, he's sitting on this lion. The lion's not even reacting, so he has some sort of control here, with this um King of Wands energy, somebody who's a leader, somebody who's has a charismatic energy. All because you took time, to do some reflection, to devote yourself to your higher, your the higher deities, right? And so, you know, so you're finding balance in that. And Pisces, I'm just gonna say that is your reading. Thank you. All right. That was a uh, check-in for Aries through Pisces. I just want to say thank you for allowing me to do your reading. I want to say Hojona has clean, Hojona has clean, Hojona has clean, Hojona has clean. Yeah.